Hello, everyone. We are getting set up here. There we go. Let me add Jules. Surprise!
I know. I'm all like looking out here. I better turn this off or I'm going to get distracted. Wait,
You
because
want
we're
to
going to
hear
have the
yourself
back.
the whole time?
I know, right? Hi, Sam.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm hearing myself. Jesse, I think I'm hearing myself from your computer. Or my computer. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, look what I'm doing. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Friday class of the shop. We have a very special guest today, and that is Julianna Avelar. Is it Avelar?
Avelar. Yeah.
Avelar. Okay, I don't want to. I don't want to mess any. I
Yeah.
can't mess up
No,
your name, Jules.
I appreciate that so much.
Yes, thanks, Josie. And Jules, if you do not know, invented the jewel loom and is an amazingly talented designer that I got to meet at Bead Fest finally after
Yeah.
she gave me the biggest hug, and then we became best friends.
BFFs.
And we got to do a live at Bead Fest together. That was so lovely
Yeah.
with
Oh my
Danielle.
gosh.
And that was a great, we
Seriously.
Beat it for like an hour and a half. That was a long live we did, I think.
Yeah, it was so great and it was so spontaneous and I just remember like, you know, you were like grabbing things to make faux hangers and stabilizers and and we were on that table that was maybe 24 inches around the three of us.
Yeah, we squeezed
So
in.
yeah,
And well, like
we
they would
squeezed it. We made
Beadfest let us like borrow some of their equipment. We borrowed like a fancy phone stand and
that's
light from them,
right.
and like we made it work. They,
That's
they helped us
right.
out.
It still had a tag on it, remember?
Oh yeah,
It had its tags.
like you could borrow for a little bit, just return
Yeah,
it, okay?
just bring it back.
So let me see. We should be live to the Sans Beach Shop YouTube and Facebook. I hope my text
Yeah.
went out. Um, oh, awesome. And so
Yeah. It's good. I
Jules is
saw
joining
ours.
us because I sent her some November beadbox items, and she came up with the coolest pendant. So if you didn't catch the thumbnail, put that photo back on the screen. It was
Yeah.
amazing. I just
Yeah.
had it. I
It's
didn't
so
even like. There's so
sweet.
many things you can make with the loom that I don't even think I quite realized. So how does this pendant come together?
Well, honestly, I sat down. I mean, first of all, when I got the elephants, I was like, it was so soft. And I was like, I thought he said he was sending me beads. What is it, a scarf? Like, I know it sounds bizarre, but I'm impressed with your elephant bag.
Oh, thank you. We like to. That's
So
actually our packaging's
what is
ever
that?
changing. So like, if you were
Yeah.
to place an order now, it's a totally different. It's holiday time now, so you might get a different envelope.
Yeah, well, I'm all in on the elephants, and I was cracking up because I was just like, he must have changed his mind because it's really soft, and I don't think there's beads in here. So when
Just so
I
you
opened
start.
it up, really, I was like, oh, it's Christmas. I don't know. But yeah, so when when I opened up, you know, and saw that the beads were all very well packaged, and that's how come it felt so soft, which awesome. Um, I was just like overwhelmed with joy because really this is like jewels in an envelope, right? Like these are my colors, all the pinks and the oranges, and I'm totally in love with gemstones, and so yeah, I immediately just became like, oh my gosh, I have to make something just so pretty, and I finally actually I I tend to sit with the beads, you
Hmm.
know, and just
Hmm.
kind of like stare at them. Like I'll walk into the studio and I'll be like, "Hey,
How you
I
doing
know
over
you're
there?
there. Yeah, like I'm in. I love you. I'm coming for you." And so finally, but then I have to be in that place sometimes where I can just really honor what needs to be birthed. And so last night, I had that moment where I was just like, okay, this is me and Sam's box of deliciousness, and I was going to use the original loom and then I ended up using the baby loom because
Yay.
what was speaking to me was like this precious little piece. And so I thought, okay, well, we use the baby loom when we don't want to waste our warping material.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, so I went so crazy last night that when I was done, I was like, oh, I used all the beads. I was like, oh my gosh, please tell me there's something for me to demo with tomorrow. And I mean, major kudos to you because there is, right? Like,
Oh, good. And we didn't
there's
even
a
say the whole,
plethora.
we sent you maybe half the box because I tried to pick out items I thought would
I,
go
yeah,
onto the loom well, because not
yeah,
every
no,
bead
you did
necessarily.
great.
Yeah.
No, you did great. In fact, I didn't realize that this was a bird until just, I know, a little bit ago. And I know how I could use that as well. I didn't, these I could use all day, not a problem. And
Nice
I certainly,
melons.
yeah, and I could certainly use these guys too, for like little fringy things. So they're all usable. Everything you sent me is usable. I used everything but these two items.
Wow.
And if I had been working on a bigger project, I probably would have.
Hmm.
So super impressed. I just had so much fun, making this piece.
Let me make you bigger.
Yeah. And is that the front? Yeah, that's the front. And so
It's so
what happened
sparkly.
too is that I've never done this before. I sewed in beads to the back. So it
Little
was really
special
fun to kind of,
accents.
yeah, it was really fun to have this piece really speak to me differently than perhaps anything I've done before. And
Hmm.
so a couple notes on this. I did warp with wildfire. Um,
Okay.
Second time around, I would choose to, because of the gemstones and they're 8 millimeter, I would choose to, and I haven't quite figured out yet, but I want to go either with the soft flex or I might do hemp. And when we get started, I guess whatever I grab is what I'm going to use. But what was speaking to me was that I needed to see texture.
Hmm.
So hindsight, I would have and I will warp with something that has texture. So like
Hmm.
the soft flex, the hemp, Eslon, even something
Hmm.
like that, because my
Yeah.
visual was like a rose trellis. And so I will definitely continue to weave slash weft with the wildfire. But anyway, just a little design note. And sometimes that happens to us, right? Like you make it and then you're like, oh, I wish I would have. And so in this case, I wish I would have warped with something a little bit more
Hmm.
textured.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm like so in love with it. I can't stand it. Like I love it. I
It's
love it,
really
love it,
pretty.
love it.
You've really like
Super
embraced.
pretty.
It looks like a quilt square. So our theme for November was quilting bee. So like we're having a little quilting bee together right
Yeah.
now. We're hanging out and
Yeah.
beading, and with everyone watching here as well. And so
Yeah. I
I
totally
feel
could
like you
see
really
that.
embraced the theme.
Oh, good, good. Because I saw that, but I didn't know that. So I was like, I don't know. Like, so I'm good. I'm glad that I kind of, oh, well, then it makes even more sense that the warps would be stronger with a
Yeah,
texture.
yeah,
So,
like a
if
thread.
you're,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh my heck. Okay. Very cool. So,
Genius without even
anyway,
knowing it.
what is that?
Yeah, I said genius without even knowing it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, anyway. So,
Yeah, should we
okay.
jump in?
Well, yeah, I know. I'm trying to think. So let's see. What do I want to do? Do you have a preference to soft flex over hemp? I know you love soft flex.
I use a lot of soft flex. I'm very curious to
Yeah.
see you warp with hemp as well, so I will leave it to
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Let me just look at the piece really quick here.
You can kind of walk us through
Uh,
your thought process and how you
yeah.
pick your warps.
Yeah. I am. I'm going to, you know what? Let me bring you down to my overhead. Okay. All right. So there we go. And just let me know if my big head or hair is in the way.
All right, we can
So
see your tray. If you want to zoom in more on your tray, if you're able, we can. It's actually
yeah,
pretty clear.
is it pretty? Yeah, because this Logitech can be. I'm gonna just come up to the camera. So this is the baby jewel loom, and the original jewel loom is twice the length, but the baby is so amazing because it's always in the warped position. So
Hmm.
if you are somebody who has never loomed before, this is a great, I always say start here because it gives you an opportunity to really understand, um, you know, the warps, the wefts. You kind of get your, um, you could try it out, and it's not like a big investment. So if you haven't done looming before, you could start with a baby loom for sure. But yeah, so okay, I'm gonna put that down. And who wants to I want? Which one do I want to go with? Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna pull the soft flex. Sorry, I just got to do it. It's
It's
calling
actually
my
it's kind
name.
of perfect because we did a trio soft flex that we offered along with
Ah,
the box, and so we
well,
did
there
the
you
and
go.
we did that amazing purple amethyst beading
Oh
wire
well,
along with the pink
yeah.
tourmaline and the
Mm,
copper.
okay, well, easy peasy pumpkin squeezy. So I just made like a little what I'll refer to as like a little air loop. Like if you were lassoing cattle. I don't know. I don't know where I got that from. But and I'm working from the spool. And so I'm just going to take that and I'm going to add it to the back button. So the jewel loom and the baby loom, these are, my little buttons on the back here. This is what helps to save from wasting product. And it's part of the patent, part of the US patent. And so when you're getting started, you're just taking the product that you're going to be warping with, and I'll explain exactly what the warps are here in a sec because that's what I'm going to do first. I'm bringing in my flat nose because they kind of act as my third hand sometimes when I have a hard time getting things tight. So I'm just pulling slightly because I don't want to damage the product. So I'll bring that up to the camera. When I get ready to warp, because this is what I'm going to do next, you could see that I take my left hand and I'm just going to grab the baby loom, and I've got the thumb underneath and the four fingers on the top. And what's really super important, you see how the knot is right in this area and it's facing me. It's facing my body. So that
Mhm.
knot that I just made really needs to follow you. So I've got my hand on the soft flex and I'm just going to lay it down into one of the grooves. Because I'm not using the entire width of the baby loom, I'm not going to stress out about where I lay it. I'm just going to let it lay down into one of the grooves. I'm going to just do a little eyeball, make sure that it's in the groove. Whoopsie. And then I'm going to turn it, wrap it around that back button. And because I'm working with these gorgeous 8 millimeter, it's the uh, rhodonite, right? Am I enunciating that correctly?
Yeah, that's the faceted rhodonite. I'm glad you
Yeah,
still have
it's,
so much left.
I do. I do. Oh my gosh, I love gemstones. Okay. So
we,
I,
we are together in that.
yeah, I love it. Um, so this is an 8 millimeter bead, and I need to be able to make the warps. So these are my warps, right? They're going from the top to the bottom. Again, this is my body. So this bottom part here is closest to my body. I need to skip 5 grooves. And these are the grooves. If I take my fingernail and I run it across, these are the grooves, and there's like a little valley in each one. I need to skip 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I put my soft flex into the sixth one. So now what that's done is given me like this area to weave my big beads into. If I was using, say, Ado seed beads, I would only skip one. And really, the way that you know is you just kind of take your bead and you eyeball it. So there's not like some really big scientific way that you figure it out. I'm gonna wrap it
Kind of
around that back
roughly
button
similar
again.
to the bead size itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm gonna do 3 of these gorgeous beads across. So I need 4 warps. Again, these are the warps. They're going from the top to the bottom and back again. And then I flip it, wrap it around that back button, come back up, and this is my fourth and final warp. 1, 2, 3. Scooch over a little, bring it back up, Soft flex is so delish. It's really soft. One, one, two, okay, four. So these are my warps. I have four of them because I'm going to be weaving with three of the beads. So I'm going to flip this back over and then I'm going to wrap it around the back button. I usually wrap it around a couple of times. I don't want to lose the tension. I am going to do something that I normally don't do. I'm using my scissors. Forgive me now. I forgot to grab wire cutters. Do not do that. Use your
Everyone,
wire
avert your eyes.
cutters.
Avert your eyes.
I know. I am so sorry. Don't send me to wire gel. And then all I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to tie off without losing the tension, right? So this again is where like I love having my flats because they just really help me to have that extra pull there. I'm going to come back around because I just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. And again, so yeah, you want to have your wire cutters. I am so sorry about that. Wow. Teacher in gel right there. That's okay. Just do as I say, not as I do. Is that
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. So we've got a really nice knot going. Sometimes I'll do a third one for giggles. I'm just being extra, being a little extra. That's okay.
Do you tend to not do bracelets on the baby loom?
What's that?
What
Oh,
what
do I
pieces
not do bracelets?
what do you mostly do on the baby loom?
So if you have a smaller wrist, by all means, you can do, you could do a bracelet on the baby loom. I think Nicole, our sweet Nicole has used the baby loom to make a bracelet. Somebody else in our soiree of fabulous beaters has a very tiny wrist. So you could do up to like a bracelet for a 6-inch wrist.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a 6-inch, yeah. So you would bead the entire um, length of the baby loom. So earrings, pendants, things that are on the smaller side is what the baby loom is really great for. And
Gotcha.
again, for beginners, people who have not beaded before, and maybe they don't know that they want to try it and invest a lot of money. So
Yeah.
it's just a great starter loom. Um,
I
so
also like
anyway,
that your looms aren't particularly, I mean, you have a whole range of looms, but like your starter looms aren't particularly expensive.
no, they're
Especially
so
like the plastic ones.
yeah, especially. And and with this one again, the warp is always in its warp position. So you don't have that learning curve like
Mm-hmm.
with the original jewel loom. You're inserting the rod, you have to remove the rod, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just a really nice way to kind of get your feet wet if you want to. You're like intrigued, but you're like, I don't know. And you'll fall in love with it. You'll fall in love with it. And before you know it, like, oh my gosh, somebody just bought like every single loom that I have. Like
I don't have
every
the full
single one.
collection.
Yeah, no, I personally called her because I was just like floored and crying.
Well, I saw you release one that has a dog on it. It has your dog
Oh
on
my.
it. And I love it. I love it so much.
Okay, well, we'll have to send you one. Here's the Boo Boo loom.
Oh,
Is he so cute?
I love it.
So this is Marlon Brando, my Frenchie. And I just really thought, it's just, he's so stinking funny. Like he's always snoring behind me. I thought, well, everybody should have a little boo boo, right? So we did, we introduced this together, Joan Dice and I, and we did a really fun coaster. So I'm loving them for coasters. Yeah, but we could totally weave in a row of like some really, you could totally weave in the bigger beads, even the smaller ones. But yeah, so thank you for mentioning that. I'll make sure you get a boo boo loom. Okay, so so what I want to do is I want to do a row of ADOs because I'm using the slider technique. So this is a slider connector from Beadalon, and the slider clasp will go over up to like an 8-0 seed bead. Okay. So we want to do a row of 8-0s before we do anything else. And 4 8-0s are going to fit into these little warped areas. So I'm going to take, let's see, where are my 8-0s? Are these them? I'm going to take my 8-0s and I'm going to put some on my little plate. And I have, so I'm sitting in front of, my area here. And I have the needle and thread in my left hand. The baby loom is pretty much in front of me. And I have my delicious palette of beads to the right. And so what I'm going to do is I take the needle, which I've already pre-threaded with wildfire. This is the pink. And so I'm using the jewel loom needle, which is amazing. So I'm going to take that. I take the needle and the wildfire. I transfer it over to my right hand while I've gone under the warps. So one more time, I just want to point that out. Everything's over here in my left hand. I've attached the wildfire to the first warp. I'll bring that up to the camera. It's kind of hard to see pink. There we go. So I just did like a little knot. The wildfire and the silver silk are both what would the proper
Soft
word be?
flex there.
Well, they're slicky. They're slicky. Is that a word? They're slick.
We'll go
So
with it.
you could see that the knot is not
Hmm.
like, yeah, it's moving. So
Hmm.
anyway, I'm going to scooch it down a little, taking the needle and the thread, coming under the warps, transferring it into my right hand. So I'm going to pull all of that. I am working with like 2 yards of wildfire. And, you know, I wouldn't go more than that because it can be hard to manage. It'll get caught on everything. So I'm going to pick up 12 8-0s.
So this is the
And
row that's going to get kind of swallowed up by your
yeah.
connector.
So with that said, if you're just, no one's ever going to see that. You know what? I feel like hold on. Oh my goodness. Why are they being so stubborn? The easiest part. And I can't find the hole.
I think it's the hardest
So
part. You started with the tiniest bead.
I know. Oh my God. Come on, Jules. Okay, so I've got 3. I have 7. I need 12. So 8. It's just the color of the bead. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So like if you have some extra 8-0s and you just don't care, like you're not going to see these, so they can totally be whatever color. But if you're like me and your chonies and your bra have to match, whether someone's going to see them or not, you're probably going to like be like, oh, but they have to match. So I don't know.
What if one day, like,
I swear.
someone that will see the seed beads?
Oh my God, I know. Okay, so your first row is always just a little, there we go. Okay, so I'm holding it with my pointer finger. I'm gonna try to get up here so you can see that. So my pointer, and you're just gonna kind of dance with the beads. So you're gonna take your needle and you're going back through each bead, and the needle is gliding on top of the warp. So it's on top of the soft flex. Okay. So let me come back up here. So you see how the needle is on top of the warps. And then we're going to pull through. And I just want you to be patient with this row. So just pull carefully because you have a lot of thread. It's kind of going sideways, but that's okay. We're going to get everything straightened out. Okay, and then we're going to come back down. So I'm just trying to center my project so that in the end I have enough warps to deal with if I have to tie off and all that good stuff. So yeah, perfect. Okay, let me come up to the camera. So we have a nice first row.
Yay,
That's
first
that's
row.
12. Yeah. So 4 8 O's in each little alleyway, just so you might want to take a note of that. So once again, I'm going to take my needle and thread, pass it underneath the warps, and I'm going to pick up 3 of the gemstones. These are just divine.
So which ones are you going for your first visible row?
This is
Okay.
yeah, rhodonite, yeah. And so they're hanging underneath the warps. I bring my hand in with my pointer. Okay. And then I'm going to take the needle and I'm going back through the beads on the top. You could see, hopefully, the needle is gliding on top of the warp. So you always want to see that silver gliding through and on top of the warps. If your needle's not on top of the warps, your beads will fall off.
That would be no good.
No. Okay. So once again, so there's our second row.
Woo!
And now,
Do you want me to cheer every time
yeah.
you do a row? Go Jules!
Go, Jill. Go, girl. You can see that tiny little hole in that big bead. Oh my gosh. Okay, so once again, so this part goes fairly quick because we're working with these gorgeous big beads. We can hopefully see the holes a little bit bigger.
It's gonna be a lot of cheering. Okay, forgot third row already. You're really speeding along here, Jules.
Oh my god.
So kind of you're basically using the rhodonite as like the main base bead, and then are the other
Yeah,
beads
well,
mostly being added later?
yeah, I just didn't want the this gorgeous gemstone to be hidden. And so I thought, well, how am I going to show it off in a weaved piece and all of these other gorgeous beads? And so that's when it just started to birth, right? I mean, there was a little bit of a visual in my mind, but really it just kind of all came together. How many rows did I do? I did 4, so I got one more to do.
Would you show us that pendant you have there
Yeah.
for folks just joining us?
Yeah, let me just get this third bead on so I don't screw up.
So I'm curious of folks watching, how many we have got 90 people watching. So of you, who has loomed before, who has never loomed before? I'm very curious kind of what our breakdown is, because I'm not sure if everyone in the Sandsview community has loomed before.
Oh. So this is this is what I did last night. So you could see kind of hiding behind, these gorgeous flower beads is this base. And then the slider went over those 8 O's. So you don't see those. Camera's kind of going in and out here.
Yeah, we can see it nicely. It's amazing how
Yeah,
much you're able to add on to it.
Yeah. So that's the backside. So now what I'm going to do is once again have more fun than humans are allowed to have, picking up these darn little 8O's. So I need to make it. I know. One.
Well, now it's a
Now
good
I
thing
know.
we released. We've been releasing like seed bead palettes to go with the bead box, so
Yeah,
it's a good thing. People could use some of that.
Yeah.
For a perfect project like this.
1 second, because now I know why I had that. What you call it for the backlighting, because I needed to see. Okay, back. There we go. Let there be light, mama. Okay. Woo! All right. Here we go. Now we're going to be so much better. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See, when you could see, it's like such a whole different world.
Much better.
Much better. Oh my heck. Like, why can't I see? Okay, so we're gonna pop these up, and then we're doing the same thing when we're gonna take the needle. And did you get a feel for like how many people are watching that have loomed?
We've got a lot of folks here in the comments who have loomed before.
Okay.
Many folks who have many of your looms.
I love you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like
You know,
it's like
we
a chef and their knives. They don't just have one favorite knife. They usually
right.
have a knife for different purposes.
Oh my gosh, remind me never to use this color on camera. It's super gorge, but oh, what a pain in my tush. Like I just don't know if my needle is going through. Nope,
Oh, it's
it's
because I
not.
forgot to keep cheering you on. This is my bad. You just blame me, okay?
Okay, I'm going to just blame
Uh,
you. It's not your fault. Oh my goodness. Okay. Come on, honey. Just go get in there for mama. Maybe now I have too much light and I've got a glare. That's okay. I'm going out for Mexican food later. That'll be my reward. There might be a margarita now.
as there should be.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. That was so terrible. Okay. So, I need to do oh goodness. How are we doing on time? I hope we're okay.
We're about a half hour in.
Okay, we're good.
I think we have some folks fascinated to see how you add on so many embellishments. I think that's also where I'm very curious about also.
Yeah, well, it doesn't happen quickly, as you can see. You know, that's the thing with sorry.
Like everyone
Six,
buckle up.
7, 7, 8,
It's
9.
okay. I'm your cheerleader. We've got 90 cheerleaders in the audience. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
we're here with you.
Yeah. Pour your
You're here
glass
to
of
learn.
wine and chill for a second because mama's gonna is this just a little bit more? Yeah. It's not stringing, right? It's just a little, it's just because I can't see. Dang it. There we go. Oh, thank you. There we go. All right. We're on a roll now. Okay.
Whew, go Jules. Go
Woo!
Jules.
Jeez. One more. Oh my God. Whose idea was this design? God. 4,
Oh my
5,
god.
6,
Lori
7,
says no fretting
8,
allowed.
9, 10,
Lori, all
11.
speeders do is fret.
Which Lori is that?
One of my favorite Loris that has ever existed, Lori Lively the Air. She is so funny.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. So much better. So much better. Thank you, bead gods. Okay. So, hi, Chihuahua. Okay. So that was the last row. Thank you. You're all like, thank God. Um, all right. So what we
Oh,
want
I'm
to do
dying over here.
next, what we're going to do next is we're going to add the little drop down pendant right here. And so I'm going to take the needle, which is on in my left hand. I'm going to go up a row. Fun times. Let's see. Thank you. Just keep going. And now the needle and the thread are in my right hand. And you can see that like I'm constantly in this mode of like straightening out, just making sure that the beads are all lined up. And then I'm going to come down to that bottom row and I just went through 5. And what I want to do is I want to find the middle. So I'm going to come out with my needle in between. It is the 1, 2, 3, the 6th and the 7th bead. I'm going to bring that up to the camera. Let me shut this because it's hard to see. So the needle is out between that 6th and that 7th bead on the bottom row. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that I know what I'm doing. Yep, I do. And I'm going to pick up 3 of these gorgeous pink beads. Three, okay. And then I'm going to pick up this flower that I luckily had 2 left of. And then I'm going to pick up an
You must have liked
8.
those flowers.
I love those flowers. I need those flowers. Okay. So you could see like I have, do you see like how I did that right there?
Oh, so we're starting with our like the drop part first.
Yeah. So we're going to do the drop part. And then we're going to take that 8 and we bring it towards us. Okay. So there's that 8. It's a little hard to see. Then we're going to take the needle and we're going back through the flower. I have to hold this differently, y'all. Hold on. We're going to go back through the flower, back through the 3 beads, and all the way out. And then we're just going to help to guide it up. Okay, so there's our first little dangly, as Meredith says, dangly doobop drop.
Dangly doobop day.
Yes. Okay, and then we're going to take the needle and we're going to go back through the 7th bead that it's really not all this. There we go.
So you're kind of finishing your row there.
Yeah, so I'm just bringing the needle all the way out so that my little guy is. Do you see that now?
Yeah.
There we go. So now that's how you get that first little drop. Okay. So we're going to take this over to the side. Yeah. Easy peasy. Pumpkin spicy.
You didn't tell me we were doing seed bead stitching today.
Well, I know I'm so crazy. I just get excited and then I just like don't know how to stop.
It's but like, now that we're doing it, we want to see it all.
Yeah. So then what I did, so I'll show you because I only have 1 flower left. But basically, this is how I got that look on the side. See how I got all the, you're talking about like, well, how did you get all those on there? So this is what I did. So the needle and the thread are out here to the left. And I'm going to take the needle. I'm going to the back side of the flower. And I'm going to pick up an 8. And then I literally just let that fall all the way to the side. So see, it's not really all that complicated. You're just kissing that up to each row. And then you'll take, where did the 8 go? There you are. So again, you're just going to bring the 8 towards you. So you bypass the 8. You take the needle, and now you're going to go through that row all over again. I stand corrected. You're going to come up and in between the 2nd and the 3rd bead, because now we're going to start our loops. Okay, so see?
So you just reverse right back through the bottom row there.
Yeah. You know, ironically enough, when you talk about quilting, I really didn't grab that concept when I read that. And so, because I was thinking to myself, there's a lot of stitching in this. And, so yeah. Now I'm going to bring in the 11
really well.
You're like, oh my God, girl, you're killing me. Okay, so now
I think we sent you the insert about quilting, right?
You did. I just saw the words.
I was worried for a second that we had sent it to you.
Yeah, no, I just didn't pay. I was naughty and I didn't pay attention. So I'm picking up 3 11-0s. I'm picking up 3 11-0s. And then I'm going to pick up this gorgeous topazy kind of And then 3 more 11 O's.
By topaz, you mean like one of those orange Orions? Is that what you're thinking
Yeah.
of?
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And then what I'm going to do is I'm coming on the right side of the second bead down here at the bottom. So this is the looping. If you've ever done any of the looping with me, this is that part. And again, holy guacamole, these beads are gorgeous, but what a pain in the butt to see. Okay, not yours, the color I chose. So we're going to pull that through and then we'll have our first loop. Okay, so that's the beginning of all of this yumminess down here. It's literally stitching in seed beads and decorative beads all over those 3 rows.
So
Or
all
the
those are
2.
done in the same way, where you're coming up and adding more beads.
Yep. Yep. You're just coming up and out and you're adding more beads. So I'll do one more for you. Does anyone have any questions? Are they like lost? I mean, do they just like need a strong shot of whiskey right now?
I'm not seeing any questions now, but definitely, folks, if you have any, this is a great chance to throw out your questions for Jules.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick up. So basically, the rest of this is just all about picking up the seed beads and the decorative beads and then looping. So there's another loop. So I'm going to go to the right side of the bead. And then I take the needle, gliding through the beads. And, how many loops do you do? Well, if you look at this palette, right, it's very tight. So I did a lot of loops. I did a loop almost on probably every 8-0, if not every other 8-0. And the less amount of 11 O's that you pick up, the tighter the loop. If you wanted super go big or go home, then you would pick up more 11 O's, your decorative bead, and then the equal amount of 11 O's. So.
Did I miss when you started mixing in 11 O's?
Yep. Catch up.
Lori's hoping to see more of the looping too.
Yeah. Okay.
You said in the comments.
That was an 8-0. Yeah. So we're just that's what we're doing right now. So I'm picking up 3 11 O's. And let's see, we'll do a purple. Those beads are so cute. And then 3 more of the 11 O's. And then we'll go to the right side of the bead that we had come out. And we're going to go through a few beads. And let's see. Whoopsie. Come on out there, buddy. So it's literally like if you've ever hemmed a pair of pants, if you've ever done any hand stitching, this is basically all you're doing. You're just stitching, you're making loops, and you're using the 8 O's as your base. So
I'm trying to imagine you're going through a couple beads and up, and then where are you coming back? How are you finishing the loop? Were you coming back, going to the next bead, or going back into the same bead on the loom?
Right. So okay. So right now we're out. The needle and thread is coming out in between this 4th and 5th bead right here on the bottom row, and I'm going to pick up 3 11 O's, and let's do another one of these gorgeous coppers. Okay. And then I'm going to come to the right side of the 5th bead. and then I'm gliding through the fourth, the third, and I'm going to come out and in between the third and the second bead. There's no wrong, like how I'm saying, oh, I'm out in between the second and the third bead right now. Like, just come up and out of whatever, like whatever you want, because here's what's happening. All these loops are forming. Okay. So you're just making a loop on the ado. So, like right now, I'm out. I'll put my beads on here and then I'll go back to the right side of that bead and then out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Each
It's
Ado is
okay.
kind of serving as like an anchor point then
Each
for that loop.
Exactly. So, like if you were to draw a picture of a bead and called it an Ado, then you could show a diagram where the needle was coming um, up and out in between the Ados and then back through it.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Jules.
Yeah,
Just took me a little slow on the draw on that one.
no. And there's plenty of videos. There's a great illustration of that in my book.
So we have some beginners in the comments asking like where a good place to start. Like where should they go for basic patterns and finishing tutorials and all those sorts of things? Where do you like to direct people?
Well, they can start at, jewelloom.com. There's also jewelloomschool.com. There's the YouTube channel. Everything is Jewel Loom. So, if you want to get a baby loom, if that's where you want to start, go to the shop, jewelloom.com. And then for all the tutorials, there's a lot on the YouTube channel. There's a lot in the school, and that's just jewelloomschool.com.
And I feel you have so much content out there.
What's that? There's a ton.
You have an amazing amount of content. Also, you did show. I'm not sure how clear of recording we got at Bead Fest, but I don't think it was too bad. Jules showed like a good 101 on looming.
Yeah.
If you go on the Sands Beach Up channel, find the Bead Fest video. And actually, it's like one of the most popular videos on the Sands Beach Up channel. So check that out. Check that video out.
Which is so awesome. Sweet. That's so sweet. So this is our first row of all the little loops. And, here's the truth of this project, you all. What a testimony to receive the beads that were in Sam's box and to be so incredibly inspired. Like I know I kind of went out of control, but I just couldn't help myself. So maybe not a beginner's project, but I could just tell you that these beads, this experience just inspired me so much that I just didn't know how to stop.
Yeah, so I'm glad we went over the bead on adding the cap to the side, and then for adding something like one of those beads that you had near the rhodonite. Is that just a loop? Mm-hmm. What's that set up there?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
On the finished piece, you have a couple beads like near the rhodonites.
Oh yeah. I have the flower beads.
So how are those connected in? Are those on a loop?
I literally just sewed them in. I literally tied some wildfire to the back side here and hid the knot. And then I just started going from the front to the back, like hand sewing. Yep. They're just hand sewed in. So like if you, just take like a solid,
Do you think you might be able to show us how that, I think that's the last technique we haven't done.
I know, and I don't have any more flowers. Let me see. What can I do? Can
you use like can you use an Orion or something?
Yeah, let me get up there. I just get so excited.
Oh, it's a great project. Just want to make sure folks are able to try to see.
No, me too. I don't want
it.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see how I want to approach this. So I would say that um, so here's a good little technique because I'm going to tie off so that I can show you how I sewed those in there. So the needle is coming out in between the fourth and the fifth 8-0. And what I want to do is I want to tie to that purple, to the soft flex warp right there. So I'm just bringing my needle out so that I can hide the knot. I'm going to take the needle, I'm coming under the warp. And this is just a way to tie off and hide the knot. Okay, and then I'm going to take the needle and push it to the back so that the knot comes with me. And scooch all these guys up so they're back to kissing. Very nice. And then very, very carefully, I'm going to nip this off. I'll go back in with my wildfire burner and make that closer. So even just, I mean, it looks like a little fairy right now, like a little fairy dress. You know, like you don't even have to go big or go home like I did. You could be a little more tame.
If you want to.
If you wanted.
If you want.
Okay, so what I'm going to do then, so I've got my needle. Let me get my needle and thread back here. See, this was in my hand when I was doing it. But okay, let's just for giggles pretend. Because I had already taken it off the loom when I decided I wanted to sew in some flowers. Do you want me to take it off the loom?
Or do you want to show us how you take it off loom anyway?
I could, yes. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just take this extra piece right here. It's like an operation. Things got really quiet. Okay, so I'm just making the knot right there. And then ever so carefully. Okay, so this time I do need my wire cutters. Hold on, right here.
We got a lot of soft flex to cut.
I know. I'm not going to use my scissors and bum them out. So I'm just, anytime I cut a piece off of the loom, whether it's the baby loom, original, Wisdom Warrior, whatever, especially when it's, beautiful glass beads, I hold, like I put the project in my hand and then I take my pointer and I've got it under, like I'm sandwiching the piece, right? And then I have my thumb. So I'm holding it so that it doesn't bounce and crack, which that's never happened, but I'm just very careful. So I'm going to snip these off and I'm just cutting everything as close to the button as I can. Okay. And then we're just going to do our little Danielle trick where she, see these two loops right here. So don't cut those. We're just going to take the warp and very carefully.
No way.
We're going to pull. I know, right? No way. I know. We're all crazy for this. When she did that, I think we were just like, oh my God, I love you. Okay, so just very carefully pulling these. Oopsie. So it's a very gentle process. Don't be all too fast. Okay. And let's see how this works. I'm really surprised at how soft the soft soft flex is. I'm surprised at how soft it is.
It's got a great feel to it.
Yeah, it's super. It's almost like it feels like I don't know. It feels like real fancy. Like you're working with some fancy stuff. This is the medium, by the way. Medium soft flex, y'all. I don't know, Sam, what you have, what you carry.
Yeah, we got that. We have
But
that in the trio.
okay.
And we probably
Sarah
there's
sent that.
rolls of it. Yeah. Those are
Okay,
great.
yeah. I don't have it. She sent it to me to design with. Thank you, Sarah.
Time.
So we're just very carefully just like tying some little knots here with the warps. And because you don't want to pull too tight because now I got to get the slider in there. So very carefully gonna. I'm assuming you wouldn't want to toss these pieces.
Yeah, those are great scraps. You can make
Yeah.
earrings out of those.
Yeah. Okay. Good to.
So is there glue involved in the slider? How does
Well, yeah, and I just lost my knot, darn it. But I'm not gonna fret. I might have to put some glue on there, but I'm not gonna do that right now. You know, and I haven't let's see, hold on. Because I feel like I'm okay. Do these not I wonder if those cutters are not soft flex friendly.
They should be fine. They should be good with steel.
Okay. So this is just a beetle on slider, and I have a feeling that we're going to have to trim that a little bit more and put a little glue on there. But you know what? I'm not going to waste time with that. What you really wanted to see was the sewing, right?
Yeah, I was also curious how you finish it off. So it seems like could you also
we can come back there.
With your soft flex threads to finish it?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that wouldn't be better. So, you know, I'm not a soft flex professional, obviously, but I like it. But yeah, because wow, it certainly see, it has a whole different feeling now, which I love. So this is really soft and flimsy, but the soft flex like really stiffens the project up. I don't think
Oh, was the last one you did not with what was the last one warped with?
with wildfire.
Okay, so this is a helpful differentiation is that it probably knotted up a lot more easily than a soft flex.
Yeah.
Which it's not to say you can't use soft flex, but it might just finish slightly differently.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, where am I at? Okay, so
Jules, we're all about figuring things out.
Yeah.
And trying new methods.
Yeah, no, I'm in.
Work and don't work.
Yeah, no, I think it's exciting because it does just kind of give you a different perspective on how to look at design and how it all comes together and how it can rebirth in different. So all I did was I'm back here on the back side of the project and I just did a little knot here. And so what did you think I could do as a faux rose, as a faux?
Oh, I maybe like one of the Orions could lay nicely.
Yeah, let's see.
My best idea is like a flatter bead.
Yeah, let's try the purple and an 8 oak. So it was the same sandwich, you know, you're picking up a decorative bead and then so again, this is the back side, right? So I'm going to take the 8 and it comes towards me. And then I'm going to go through the bead and then I'm going to flip it so that now the needle is facing me on the front side. So if we look behind here, oh, that still looks cute. It's hard to see, but So then over here, we'll do the same thing. We'll take the decorative bead and an 8-0. And then that's all I did was I just kept stitching from the back to the front.
And are you looping through any other beads?
Yeah,
What
so then I was
wall?
coming back in. See, so now I'll come back in through these top beads.
And do another set. You kind of do them in
And
pairs.
then I could do, yeah. So like here's this top one. And then here's the back side of it. I don't know, that's kind of hard, but let me pull in the big guys. Let me pull in the big guns. So see, you've got this guy, whoops. And then to the back. So you're using the big 8mm beads like as your palette to kind of weave through and then come out, sew on a bead like you would do in quilting.
Mm-hmm. It's very pretty.
Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely.
I promise not to use all the beads in the future. I'm sorry.
Oh, we still get to see the technique and how you're coming
Yeah.
through a rhodonite. You're kind of coming up.
Yeah.
And so one
Literally just hand
what's
sewing everything.
the pattern for it is, what was the pattern again?
What do you mean?
For like adding that stitch, it was which seed bead followed by the
Oh,
Orion.
it's a 8-0. It's just a 8-0. So
You're still using the ADOS for those, okay.
yeah. So I just do the same, like, if that was a flower and then an 8-0, and then I skip the 8-0 and I go to the back of the project. Well, actually, that was the back. So now I'm in the front. So yeah, so you're just stitching from the front to the back. And it's not while it's on the loom, it's while it's off the loom in your hand.
We have a few more questions about finishing it off. So
Yep.
the thing we were pointing out a few minutes ago is that the example project that Jules did was with wildfire. So she found that and that's what she typically uses, knots up really easily.
Whoops.
So that you can then put on the slider, which
Yeah.
she used. For this one, we were trying out seeing how it worked up with Softflex
Whoops.
as our warp, which just behaves a little bit differently, doesn't like to knot, so probably would blend better to being crimped or
the
maybe
hemp,
more thread, like
or
more
crimp
that
it, yeah.
in which case it would still be able to turn into a pendant very easily.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if there's any way I can.
So this has been a good learning opportunity to see like how the Softflex likes to be finished off. It's clearly a little different than the wildfire.
Yeah. So this is just a little dangerous because I don't want my row there to come out. So I probably would put a layer of white glue. But for giggles, let me see what I can have done here. For giggles. So you would be taking, yeah. Well, surprise. Go slow, mama. Let's see. Yeah. And I don't know if the Softflex, I don't know that that's going to work. What I'm trying to do is get the Softflex to lay down. But once I get over here, it's being a little more fussy.
It seems like it seems like the Softflex would need to get secured a bit, maybe.
Yeah. I think the better closure, I'm going to just see for giggles if that helps. Yeah. I'm afraid that if I cut it anymore, it's going, well, it doesn't matter at this point. I'm going to have to well, maybe things are on my side. Let's see. So I've managed to get it on top of there, except for this very last. It's not going to work. Yeah. It's just not the right it's not the right combination. I can't lie. I'm not going to tell you that
Oh
that's going to
no,
work.
we're here. We're figuring that
Yeah.
we're here figuring it out with you,
Yeah.
Jules.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say that it would be better to crimp those
Yeah, to finish it off.
tops.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Because
so.
you
It
could
works
crimp it and
better.
still kind of make it
Yeah.
into a pendant with a bail
Yeah.
or whatever you like.
Exactly. Yeah. So
But then
it's
if you
going to be a
folks want to
little
try
rough.
it with the but then if folks want to try it as you did it, that wildfire
Yeah.
seemed to work well there.
Yeah, I think the wildfire or hemp is going to be the better because it ties.
Hmm.
I love the way the soft flex feels,
Yeah,
but I
the
didn't.
soffits,
Yeah,
it has to be either woven in or crimped. It doesn't like to be just kind of left.
it
Yeah, it's
doesn't
not,
want to be.
it doesn't
Well,
it
now
doesn't
I
want to be
know.
left.
Now I know. Now I know. Okay. So, all right. Well, we tried.
But we still got to see it's the same action of warping
Yeah.
a hemp or warping a wildfire. Like nothing else, nothing really is shifted for the project itself.
No, no. And there's no bad reason to use the wildfire. I was
Hmm.
just aesthetically like I had this idea that when I saw the warps, I wanted them to have texture.
Hmm.
That was my only reason for changing it up. But maybe I didn't need to. So, I think I love being honest about this is how I do my workshops too because it's all honesty,
Yeah.
right? Like you can edit stuff and you can make it look perfect and pretty, but I'm not into the phoniness of life. So, I think it
Well,
works.
thank you for taking us on this journey with you. I feel like I've learned a lot about. I've never really seen the baby loom in action before, so this was really helpful to get to
Ah,
see.
I know. I forget yeah, that you're that you haven't because the original loom at Bead Fest was kind of the first time that we
Yeah, I hadn't done it much before then, so
yeah,
it's a good.
yeah,
Um, the
yeah.
more times I see it, the more it kind of clicks. So anyway,
Yeah.
Lori has told
So,
us fantastic class. So obviously we've been able to impart some. You've been able to impart some wisdom. So I thank you,
yeah.
Jules, for sharing all these ideas with us.
All the tidbits, yeah. Yeah, and
Kathleen
I think
says
mhm,
that the soft flex in fine she's able to tie, which is interesting. The thinner ones,
okay,
because the medium is pretty
yeah,
thick.
okay. So good lesson for me. Again, I am not well versed on soft flex. I'm not
Well, now
gonna
you're
lie.
twice as versed.
I think it's super gorge, and I weaved the Wisdom Warrior with her, or with the soft flex, and it was divine on the wood.
Hmm.
Which is always something that you want to be careful with. And so it
Hmm.
loves the wood.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I need a 101. But thank you for telling me that. So fine would be a
Yeah, I
better
like
choice.
their
Okay.
fine or extra fine. You might like. I really like
Oh,
the extra fine because
okay.
it's a lot. Like Danielle uses it like sometimes in place of a
Oh,
wildfire.
okay.
Because it kind of because it's thinner, it has more capability of being
Yeah.
able to be woven in.
Yeah.
So maybe that could work better if you're wanting to
Okay.
use. But you're also use this. See, your go-to is the wildfire, and there's a reason for
Yeah.
that also.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which is why we also have the wildfire in this shop as well. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
fantastic
Exactly.
material.
Exactly. But it's just it's fun to know because
Yeah.
you certainly could have left the wildfire in place and like you said crimped it and then done something. I've seen where
Mhm.
Sarah brings it together and then it's like this beautiful thing, like
Mhm.
you said, like a bell and everything. So
Yeah.
it didn't work in my mind. I was hoping that I could do what I was doing, but it didn't work.
Alas. Here we are.
I'm waiting for Dave or what's it, the chef Ramsey to come in and like yell at me.
As we say in my family, it was a learning opportunity. But thank you, Jules. I have to hop off and actually get ready
Yes.
for the Soft Flex live at 5
Oh,
o'clock Pacific.
well, there you go.
We're,
Yeah.
we're doing a
Okay.
little ornament party over there. Um,
Aw.
so I need to go get ready for that. I finally got the
Okay.
tree up. Thank you for doing
Aw.
my first class with the tree.
So
Um,
cute.
but I gotta go finish up some ornaments for 5 p.m.
Yay.
This little
Yay.
workshop.
Yeah. Well, tell Sarah I tried.
You did wonderful. You did absolutely wonderful. We love you very, very much.
I love you guys.
All right,
Have a
we're gonna
great,
sign off
yeah.
for today.
Okay,
Bye,
honey. All
everyone.
right. Bye.